Hey students, in this video we're going to talk about getting yourself set up to 3D print. If you're watching this video, you have already created your 5 individual dimension drawings plus your exploded view drawing with a parts list and balloons. Right? If that sounds unfamiliar to you, please go back and finish that up before you get ready to move on to 3D printing. Right now, if you're still watching, I'm going to assume you've done all of that stuff. Right, the next thing we want to do is we're going to highlight our part here by dragging a square around it one last time. We're going to go to the Inspect tab, and we're going to analyze interference. Right, you should have done this already, but I just want you to double check because if things don't fit together in this virtual environment, they're not going to fit together in real life. Right, so if it says there was interference detected, I want you to think like an engineer, analyze what might have caused that problem, and go back and fix it. Right, if you're unsure of how to do that, please see me or a classmate for some help on fixing that interference. Right, now that we've confirmed it all fits together, we're going to convert these files to .stl types. Right now they're a .ipt, and when we go to load a .ipt file into our printer, nothing happens. So we need to convert it to a .stl. Right, I'm going to do that right from this puzzle cube assembly by double clicking on one of my parts. That brings me into the individual part file. And then I can go to File. I'm going to hover over the 3D print command, and I'm going to say send to 3D print service. All right, there's a few ways we can convert the files. This seems to be the easiest. All right, we're going to click on the options button. I've already been in here once and changed this. Yours, you're going to notice, probably was set to inches when you came in here. We want to change the output unit to millimeters, right? Because that's what our 3D printer reads in. If you don't do this, you're going to have some scaling issues that you're going to have to fix through unit conversion later on. Right? We also want to make sure our resolution is set to high. Once we've gone in and fixed those options once, it should be set for all 5 files. Right? So now I can go ahead and click on OK. This is just like doing a save as, but it's going to save it as a .stl file. Go ahead and save that in your same Google Drive file folder that you've saved all your other files for this project to. So you can see it's calling mine pink part number 2. I'm going to click save. And again, I've practiced this, so I've already got a pink part 2. I'm going to save over top of it. All right, you should just be able to click save. Once you get back to this window, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a return button that will bring you back to your assembly file. Right? And then once you're here, you're going to repeat that whole chain of clicks 4 more times. So we'll pick a new part, double click on it, go to File, hover over Print, click Send to 3D Print Service. If you feel the need, you can double check that your unit output is set at millimeters and high resolution. Then we'll go ahead and click OK. Make sure it's got a descriptive name. It's going to the right folder. Click Save. All right, then we'll click Return. Do that 3 more times and you're set. Right. Now I've already got them there, so I'm going to minimize this. All right, I'm going to minimize my Internet Explorer. And then we need to get Affinia Studio onto your, ideally you'd be doing this on your laptop. So you can bring your laptop over and plug it into that 3D printer you want to use. And so if we come down here to the Software Center, all right, you can go ahead and search for this Affinia Studio app. Mine's not going to show up because I've already got it downloaded. It's a much smaller program than Inventor. It should take a minute at most to put onto your computer. All right. Once you've got the Affinia Studio on your computer, we'll go ahead and open it up. All right, and then we're going to click on this Build tab. This Build tab is going to bring us to an environment that looks like this. This wireframe represents what's called the build envelope, right? So that's the space we've got on a 3D printer to take and put files in. If stuff is outside of this wireframe, it's not going to be able to 3D print. Okay? And then down on the bottom, we can see this checkered square pattern. That's the build plate. So that just helps us identify what's the bottom of this. Okay? So we're going to go into Add. And we want to add 3D models, right? And it might, if you're lucky, open right up to your Puzzle Cube file folder. If not, you may have to go search for it. Okay? I want to print all 5 of these, so I'm going to click the first one. I'll hold the Shift key down and go down to the 5th, and then I'm going to click Open. All right, we'll give it a second to think. and it's going to put all of my files in here. Now you can see things look a little crowded. Okay, we're going to print these at half scale the first time just to make sure they all work, everything's set up the way it should be. If everybody gets done in class and you want to go back and print full scale, you're welcome to, but just to speed things along, we're going to print them at half scale our first time. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to select all. Then I'm going to right click again and I'm going to go to, nope, it doesn't give me that option. I'm going to make sure I've got them all selected, and then I'm going to come up top here to scale, and I'm going to scale these by a factor of 0.5. All right, that'll make them into half scale. Then once I've done it to half scale, I'm going to go to this little eye here. That's the view button. And if I click the middle, it'll bring me back to my original view. If you want to tool around, you can click some other views on here. It'll kind of show you how that stuff's positioned. If you're using a mouse, you can push down, or you used to be able to. Yeah, you can push down on the left mouse key, and it'll also let you rotate. Okay, now as I rotate this around, this piece here is a perfect example. There's an air gap in between this piece and the build table. Right? If we can avoid having those air gaps, this will 3D print a lot quicker. So what I'd like you to do, if you see those, is we're going to go to the rotate command. And right now we've got everything selected. So let's go back to the eye. And we're just going to come in here with our cursor. And we're going to click on the individual piece we want to move. So this one's got that air gap. That's what I want to move around to try and get rid of it. Okay, so now I'm going to come to the rotate key. Again, the center key is kind of a helpful one in most cases. This is going to allow me to rotate a specific face to the bottom. So instead of using these grips and maybe not turning it a precise angle, I'm just going to use this center button, and I'm going to pick the face that I want down on the bottom. Once I got that face there, I'm going to say confirm. Okay, and then I can go back to the eye to kind of view what I'm doing here. And you can see now I've got that one laid down so that there's no air gap. It's going to support itself as it gets built. All right, so I need to go do this to a couple of my parts. All right, and then I'll click confirm. I can go back to the eye, check out what's going on. Now, sometimes as I'm moving these around, you can see what happened here. I put one on top of the other. So the other tool you're going to need to use as you're getting this set up is auto place. All right, and that'll take and move them so that they're not interfering with one another. All right, so you're going to keep shuffling these around until they're all touching the bottom. Like I can see this is my next piece I should concentrate on here. And I want this side to touch the bottom. We'll confirm that. Now they're overlapping. Okay, so I'm looking at it from the bottom view right now. This one looks like the next piece I need to maybe take and do some fixing with. So let's go to rotate. All right, and let's make this face touch the bottom. Now it looks like they're overlapping, so we'll do that auto place command. All right, so again, yours may vary. You might luck out. They might come in exactly where you need them. They might need lots of tweaking like mine did. Once you've got this set up, this menu is a little goofy in the Afinia software. We're going to come over to the one with all the lines on it. That is a more option. All right, and then we're going to come to this one where there's an arrow pointing at a folder. That's the save command for Afinia. And we're going to save this put together build file. I've got everything positioned the way I want it. I've got it scaled the way I want it. I'm going to save it one more time. So when I get to the 3D printer, instead of opening up those 5 files and going through all this again, I can open this one up. And so I'm going to call this final file, name on it too, and then I'm going to click save. And if you've gotten to this point, come see me and I will show you how to plug your laptop into one of the 3D printers, and you can go ahead and 3D print your finished Puzzle Cube prototype.